welcome. This is our robotics class week 35. So I hope that you guys enjoyed the little break last week, learning about artificial intelligence. And I'm still looking forward to receiving anybody who did not send in their summary. So you were supposed to research an article that talked about artificial intelligence being used in our everyday lives, facial recognition, examples like that we looked at last week. And then you're supposed to type up a summary of the article and also put the actual article so we know that you used a source and what your source was. This week we're diving right back into our VEX code curriculum. So we are now in unit 7 and we're learning about the eye sensor. We're going to do a little introduction today, and then we'll have a short code that you'll work on, and there won't be any quiz for this lesson, okay? All right, so it says in this unit, you're gonna learn how to use the eye sensor and conditional statements to solve the disc maze challenge. So we're in a different challenge. And if you guys remember about conditionals, we used them a lot in our coding lessons, right? So pretty much if something happens, then it will trigger something else. Else, if it doesn't happen, then something else will happen, right? So we set up all these conditions, right? And so we'll be using that here with this sensor to help the robot to move around and solve the maze. So here, I'll put on the video for you guys.
In this unit, you will learn how to use the eye sensors on the VR robot. The VR robot has two eye sensors, the front eye sensor and the down eye sensor. An eye sensor is used to detect the color of a surface or object. An eye sensor also is used to detect if an object is directly in front of the sensor. Using information you learn about eye sensors, you will apply these new skills to solve the Disc Maze Challenge. In this challenge, the VR robot will use the eye sensors to detect colors and navigate through the Disc Maze playground from start to finish. Have fun learning how to solve the Disc Maze Challenge.
Okay, so let's move on with our Disc Maze Challenge. The eye sensor. So in lesson 1, we're going to be learning about the eye sensor. So there's the front eye and the down eye, and we will learn how to use the eye sensors, and we'll learn where they are. And so the learning outcomes for this lesson, we should be able to identify that the eye sensor can detect if there is an object present and the color of the object. So it could be red, green, blue, or none. Identify that a VR robot contains two eye sensors, one of them facing forward and the other facing down. Identify that the eye sensor near object block is a Boolean reporter block that reports true when the eye sensor is close to an object that has the detectable colors, and false when it's not. And then we're going to be using the color sensing block, which will obviously report true when it detects the color and false when it doesn't. Let's take a look at this diagram here. So here's the robot. So the sensor for the front eye is right here at the front of the robot. And then the sensor for the down eye is here. So if we turned it upside down, you would see that sensor, but obviously it's facing down. So the eye sensor can detect the color of the object. It can also detect if the object is present. The colors that it can detect are red, green, blue, or no color. And so if we were to look at this in person, I mean, obviously it would be way more interesting, but here it's at least we have a picture so we can see what it looks like. So if you do want to learn more about this, you can always go into the curriculum. They do have a whole thing that talks just about the eye sensor, but I'm just trying to keep it pretty general for you guys. It's more just like general knowledge. But if you are, hey, if you're really interested in this field, you really enjoy robotics, you have fun with this, there's so many things on this website, on this VEX Code website, that you can go and learn. So, I mean, you can just do it for fun if that's something that you enjoy. Okay, so I'm going to go to next, and we're going to learn about the different blocks now. So the eye sensor near object block, so this one, is a block that reports if the eye sensor is close enough to an object to detect a color, such as red, green, blue, or none. So this is what it looks like. The eye sensor near object block is a Boolean reporter block. That means that it reports back either true or false. And the front or down eye sensor can be selected because there's a drop down menu. So when you pull it, push the little button, you'll get the little drop down menu for front eye or down eye. So whichever one you're trying to actually use in your maze or whatever it is that you're doing. The color sensing block reports back if one of the eye sensors detects a specific color. So like, for example, front eye detects red. And then again, you can also change it to down eye. Down eye detects red. And then it will report back true or false if it does detect whatever color. And you can also change the color in the pull down menu for the color. So I feel like pretty self-explanatory, right? The eye sensors on the VR robot can be used in many ways, right? So note that the down eye sensor does not detect the floor of a playground as an object, right? Other items such as discs will register as objects. The front eye sensor does detect walls in the playgrounds. So if you do want to detect a wall, you would want to use the front eye sensor for that. The eye sensors can detect the color of an object near the sensor, such as the colored discs in the disc maze playground, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes. This could be useful if you want your robot to sort differently colored objects, maybe drive up to a specific colored object, or perform a certain behavior based on the color of an object, right? So in this project, the VR robot will drive around until the front eye detects a green object. Once the green object is detected, it's going to turn right. So if you look at this code, drive to the first green disc and then turn right. So there we have drive forward, wait until front eye detects green, and then turn right for 90 degrees. So I want to show you guys, let me get a new blocks project, what the actual disc maze looks like so you could see. Well, so here you go, and here's all the discs, and you see they all have different colors. So obviously, in the code that we just looked at, when the robot gets to a green disc, it's going to turn right 90 degrees, okay? So that's pretty easy. So we're gonna try to actually put that code into our, here, hang on one second, into our program. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to add this code just so that we can practice doing it. So I'm going to rename this my name, and this is unit number 7, lesson number 1. Oh, sorry, what did I do? Unit number 7, lesson number 1, and this is going to be the disc maze, right? So let's rename it. And then let's start grabbing some of the code. So you know this first block is our comment block. So why do we use this? Because it helps us to know what we're doing. So in this example, we're driving to the first disc that's green, and then we're turning right. So you could add that comment in, drive to the first disc, green, then turn right. And then what are we going to do? Well, we need to drive forward, right? So our first thing that we're doing is we are driving forward. After we drive forward, we have to wait until our front eye detects green. So the wait until block is our conditional block, right? Because if a condition happens, then it'll move forward, right? And do whatever that is. And in this case, it's going to be turning right. So let's go ahead and get out of our sensors. Let's look for our eye sensor, and we want the one with color. So because why? We're waiting until our front eye detects green. So there we go. And then we will turn right for 90 degrees. So let's go ahead and get our turn right for 90 degrees. And now this would be our code. to be able to have our robot drive forward. When it gets to the green sensor, then it would be able to turn right for 90 degrees. So I'm going to try it out here in the playground. So let me actually run it and then let's see what happens. I'm going to try to actually hold this up a little bit so you can see it. So if you follow along, you see as soon as it hits the green, it turns right 90 degrees. So it was able to detect the green color and obviously reports back true to the robot, and the robot says, okay, if that condition is true and it is green, then what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to turn right 90 degrees, right? So that's basically, I don't know, I feel like pretty straightforward, right? Hopefully this will be, I'm hoping it'll be more fun. Now we're using a color sensor, right? So if you could imagine, what we'll be doing is we'll be going through the maze, and then depending on the color, you'll be doing different things like turning a different direction, right? To get through the maze. So that's pretty much what you're going to be doing this week. So you will just add in this code. You can put your comment, you can put your drive forward block, try out your eye sensor, so your front eye. When it detects green, then turn right for 90 degrees. Okay, so pretty easy, right? And we're just going to skip the quiz this week. And then what I'll probably end up doing is I will have, maybe for this unit, what we'll do is we'll just have the unit test. So that means that we'll just go over everything at the end and we'll just do it a little bit differently. Why not switch things up, right? But of course, if you want to go in and review the questions, you can, and I'm sure all of you will, right? Because you send in the homeworks every week. So of course you're going to go extra. No, I'm just kidding. I'm teasing with you guys, but really you should be keeping up every week, right? Because it's part of being responsible and managing your time and making sure that you do get everything done. And, like I say all the times, robotics isn't for everybody. Not all of you are going to be in this field of programming robots, but it is a good skill to have a working knowledge of, right? And what is a working knowledge? It means that you can have a conversation with somebody about the topic. Maybe you've dabbled in it a bit, right? Which means that you know a little bit about it. You could speak on it. You might even be able to do a little bit of code with it. That's a great place to be in for your future, because then at least you do have the working knowledge. And then for those kids who really enjoy it and they do see it as like a career and something in the future for them, then you could just take it a step further and really study and learn and really make sure that you know how all these things work, right? But the expectation is that you can definitely complete the lessons every week. I mean, I give you the answers to the code. So it's like, even if you were completely clueless, you could easily go and practice adding the blocks in and testing the code. You could copy it off from the video, right? So I'm not looking for you to be some robotics, engineer genius. I'm just looking for you to really be exposed to this and to just put the effort in and give it your best shot and try it out, right? And if worst case scenario, you have the code, so you go back and you just copy what I add in and you test it out, and then at least you were able to try it. And you're learning all about all the different sensors that the robot has. And these are things that, they do transfer over into other machines that we use, right? When you think about it, you guys, if say, for example, like you have a Roomba at your house, I mean, that's a robot, believe it or not, right? And it has different sensors. And so you could have more of a working knowledge and understanding of, oh, well, I do understand that it knows what to do because it has sensors, right? That go back into it and report back different values and then tell it what to do, right? Just like when you look at this robot here and you're like, oh yeah, so now I understand what the sensor is doing, right? And you think, going back to the beginning when we learned about the characteristics of robots, right? And how sensing was something that they really needed, right? Because why? Because a machine that we really want to become a robot needs to be able to, like a human, have senses, right? Like we wouldn't know where we were going if we didn't have eyesight. We wouldn't be able to hear if we didn't have our ears, right? or to feel our way around and to by touching things, right? So robots, they need the same things, and the sensors, that's what gives them those abilities, right? And they'll never be the same as us because they're not human, but it can come pretty close in certain tasks because it can really help to give them the information and the data that they need to make the smartest decisions in whatever the task that they're trying to do, right? So hopefully at least it makes sense to you and you have like a basic understanding. So this week is pretty easy. We're just introducing this new unit. So you can just recreate this short code here, send it over to me, and that's basically your assignment for the week. So I do expect everybody to complete this. You can also use this week to go back. If you have missed anything, you can check GradeLink. If there's a 0 in for any of the code or quizzes or anything, use the week to catch up. That way you're not getting to a place where you're so far behind that it's like really hard to catch up and it's overwhelming. And you're always welcome to come during your lunch. You can jump on one of the computers and catch up on things. Why not take advantage, right? Okay, guys, so we'll see you next time. Bye.